You wake to the sound of whispers, not voices, not words exactly, just the hush of breath moving across dry floorboards, through cotton stalks, against skin too tired to flinch. The world around you is still wrapped in the dark purple of pre-dawn, and the cold has crept up through the dirt, through the wooden slats of the floor, into your spine. You don't remember falling asleep. You rarely do anymore. Your back aches from yesterday's picking. Your palms sting where the cotton burrs tore them open. Blood crusts under your fingernails. You don't even bother checking anymore. It'll be the same tomorrow. Somewhere in the dark corner of the room, a baby starts to cry. You hear the rustle of cloth, the soothing hush of a mother's voice. You know her name? Or maybe you don't. Names are like birds, beautiful, but always escaping. The cabin smells of old sweat, wood smoke, and something else, damp dirt and grief. You lie still a moment longer, listening. The floor creaks beside you. Isaiah is already up, older than you, half blind from a blow to the head last harvest. He moves slow, but he's always the first to rise. Some say it's fear. Others say it's pride. Time, he mutters. You sit up. Your legs groan like they don't belong to you anymore. The room is a single space, one sagging shelf, 3 mats made from flour sacks, 1 rusted tin bucket for washing. No windows, just gaps in the wood that let the cold in and the hope out. Your sister stirs beside you, only 10, fingers still pink and soft. That softness won't last. You reach under your mat and pull out what little's left from last night's meal. A chunk of cornbread, dry and crumbling. You give half to her. She smiles, eyes wide, and you pretend you're full. The horn blows, sharp, harsh, final. The horn tears through the silence, one long guttural blow from the conch shell, carried by the overseer's youngest boy, who walks through the quarters barefoot, grinning as he sounds it again and again. The sound climbs into your teeth and settles in your bones. You rise, not because you want to, because there is no other choice. You pull on the same ragged shirt from yesterday. It smells like sweat and old blood, stiff with salt and sun. Your pants, patched at the knees, are damp from the dew coming through the cracks in the cabin wall. Clara sits cross-legged on the floor, yawning, her face still soft from dreams. She looks at you with sleepy trust, the kind that frightens you more than any whip. You don't speak. Words are precious and scarce. You simply pass her the last chunk of bread and run your hand across her braids. Braids she did herself, crooked, imperfect, beautiful. Isaiah stands in the doorway, one hand bracing the frame. The sun has not yet risen, but the sky has begun to soften, gray bleeding into the black. He looks out like he's seeing something you can't, like maybe if he squints hard enough, he'll see a different world. He says nothing, just nods. He's been on this land longer than you've been alive. His back is a map of scars, some raised, some deep, all earned in silence. You follow him outside. The dirt is cool on your feet. The morning air tastes of ash and sour rain. In the rows behind the cabins, smoke drifts from the cookhouse chimney. You know what that means. A ration pot boiling, pig snout and black-eyed peas if you're lucky. Just water and bones if you're not. You hear other doors creak open, others stepping out, eyes cast down. Men, women, children. Some old enough to remember Africa, some born right here in the cotton fields. At the edge of the cabins, a small fenced pen holds chickens, thin, bald, pecking at the dirt. One of them lies still, neck twisted. No one says a word. Food is food, but the punishment for theft is worse than hunger. The sun breaks the horizon, and with it the overseer arrives. He comes on horseback, hat low, whip curled like a snake around his saddle. He doesn't speak, doesn't have to. His presence is command enough. One by one you step into the rows. The cotton is already tall, white heads bobbing like ghosts above the green. The dew clings to the bowls, dampening your hands as you begin. You reach out, pick, pull, move. Pick, pull, move. Every step is practiced, every gesture repeated 1,000 times. The sack tied around your shoulders grows heavy, quickly. Each cotton boll opens like a cruel flower, soft on the outside, barbed within. Your fingers sting as you work, tiny cuts you won't feel until night. Clara is 5 rows down. You hear her breathing, short, steady. She doesn't complain. She never does. The overseer's whip cracks once. It's not meant for anyone, not yet. Just a reminder that he's watching, that he's always watching. Isaiah starts to hum. A low, slow tune, melancholy but steady. A field song, a work song. You don't know the words. You don't need to. The rhythm pulls you forward. Pick, pull, move. Your mind drifts to Leela, to the way her eyes find yours even when no one's watching, to the way her hand once brushed yours beneath the water barrel, a touch so small it nearly broke you. She's not in the field today. You heard she was sent to the house. You don't know why. You don't ask. Asking is dangerous. The sun climbs higher. The air thickens. Sweat drips down your back. Your shirt clings to your ribs. Mosquitoes find your neck and wrists, biting through the cloth. The sack is heavier now, 50 pounds at least. You haven't even reached midday. At the end of the row, a boy stumbles. No older than Clara, thin as a branch. He falls hard, knees buckle, sack spills. The overseer's there in seconds. He doesn't yell, just dismounts. And then the whip. 1, 2, 3 lashes across the boy's back. He doesn't cry. He bites his lip so hard you see the blood. The work continues. No one stops. You keep your head down. Pick, pull, move. By the time the bell rings for the midday break, your fingers are raw, your back aches, and your mouth is bone dry. You make your way to the tree line, a shady patch where you're allowed 20 minutes, no more. You sit beside Isaiah. Clara leans against your shoulder. Her breathing is shallow,
but her eyes stay open. You're handed a tin bowl. The stew is watery, grayish-brown, with floating bits you try not to examine too closely. You eat in silence. In the distance, you see Leela standing at the porch of the big house. She holds a tray of lemonade and pie. A white girl, no older than 10, takes the glass and spills some on her shoes. Leela kneels to clean it. You feel something break inside you. "Don't look," Isaiah says gently. You turn away. 20 minutes pass. The bell rings again, and you rise. Back to the fields, back to the rows, back to the endless picking. But in your pocket, wrapped in cloth, is something small, a seed. You stole it last night from the planter's shed. Just one cotton seed, useless to them, but not to you. You're going to plant it, not to grow cotton, but to remember that even here, something might still grow. The sun is overhead now. You can feel it pressing down on your shoulders like a hot hand. The cotton fields stretch wide in every direction, an ocean of white that never ends, waves of fluff hiding sharp burrs beneath. Your sack drags behind you like a second body, heavy and sluggish. The strap across your collarbone has started to dig into your skin, rubbing it raw. But you don't loosen it. That would be noticed. Everything is watched here, even your pain.
You glance across the row. Clara wipes her forehead with the hem of her dress. Her hands tremble as she picks, her fingers bleeding in places where the cotton scraped too deep, but she doesn't stop, not even for a second. No one does. The overseer's horse clops steadily between rows. He doesn't speak much. He doesn't need to. Just the shape of his shadow crossing your feet is enough to make your spine stiffen. You keep picking. Pick, pull, move. The air smells of sweat and dust and sun-ripened cotton, sweet and bitter all at once. Somewhere nearby, someone retches. You hear coughing, dry, rough, too deep to be from a cold. Isaiah hums again. This time it's slower, drawn out. The melody is old, older than the land, older than the whip. Wade in the water, children. You don't sing aloud, but in your chest, the words move. God's gonna trouble the water. There's meaning in the melody. Coded messages passed in song. The elders taught you to listen not just to the music, but to where it's sung, when it's sung, why. This one is a warning. Someone's thinking about running. You reach down into the soil and feel the heat of it. It burns your palm. You let your fingers sink a little deeper, grounding yourself in it, not because you want to, but because this land is your prison, your church, your battlefield. Lila's not in the fields today. You heard whispers that she was called to the big house again, that the master's wife asked for her help in the kitchen, but you know what that really means. Everyone does. Sometimes they ask for help. Other times they demand company. You close your eyes just for a second and you see her, not as she was this morning, but as she was last summer under the pecan tree at dusk, her hand in yours, her laugh like honey poured over bruises. She touched your cheek then. You flinched, not because it hurt, but because it was too kind, too dangerous. The sky shifts. Clouds are building in the east, thunderheads. You pray for rain, not for relief, just to delay. A storm might end the day early, but prayers here often float unanswered. At midday, you get 5 minutes of water. A rusted bucket passed down the row. 1 ladle. No talking. Drink and pass. You let the water sit on your tongue before you swallow. It's warm, tastes of tin and earth, but it's something. When the bucket reaches Clara, you make sure she gets 2 ladles. She looks at you, small, grateful. Then it happens. A scream, sharp, not loud, but real. You spin. A woman, maybe 30, is on her knees beside her cotton sack. It's torn, split down the middle, cotton scattered around her like snow. You don't know her name. She was sold here 2 weeks ago. From Virginia, some said. New, unbroken. The overseer dismounts, his whip already drawn. She raises her hands, not in defiance, just fear. No, she pleads. It ripped. It wasn't. The whip comes down. You hear the air split before it lands. You make yourself look away. Clara doesn't. Her hand finds yours, small and cold, despite the sun. You squeeze back. The sound of whipping doesn't fade.
Afternoon continues. The sun shows no mercy. The rows blur together. The sack grows heavier. You feel your body becoming numb. The cuts on your hands have started to clot, but now the sting from the salt in your sweat sets them burning again. Someone whispers from the next row over. It's Jonah, a man in his 30s, once escaped, got caught, branded for it. Tonight, he says, low. Smokehouse, after curfew, quiet. You say nothing. You don't nod, but you hear. That's how things work out here. No notes, no signs, just breath and eyes and music. Near the edge of the field, a sparrow lands on a fence post, small, brown, ordinary. You pause for a second and watch it. Freedom, perched 10 feet away. But it doesn't know your name, and it won't wait. By late afternoon, your feet ache, your back burns, but something inside you stays upright. Hope, maybe, or anger, or love. Whatever it is, you hold on to it. A gust of wind moves through the cotton. Soft, almost kind. You close your eyes and imagine the wind as Leela's fingers through your hair. You imagine the cotton as snow, not thorns. You imagine that you were never born into this. Then the bell rings. End of day. Not the end of work, just the signal to drag your sack to the scales. You drop it beside the others. 60 pounds. Maybe 65. Not enough. Never enough. They'll dock your rations. Again. Back toward the cabins now. Dust in your nose, blood on your knuckles, no words left in your mouth. But something stirs beneath your ribs. You reach for the cloth in your pocket. The seed is still there.
still whole, still waiting.
Night falls slow in the south. It leaks across the sky like molasses, thick, dark, and slow to pour. The cotton fields blur into shadows behind you. The cabins glow with slivers of firelight, lines of gold slipping through the cracks in the walls. Your body hurts in places that don't even have names. A deep ache under the ribs, a buzz in the fingertips, a stinging in the knees, the back, the base of your neck where sweat and sun have kissed you raw. But there's no time to sit, not yet. The line for the wash barrel stretches 20 long. You stand with Clara behind you, Isaiah ahead. When it's your turn, you splash your face, then your arms, wincing as the water stings open cuts. You pass the rag to your sister. She flinches when it touches her palm. You want to cry, but the tears don't come anymore. They got worked out of you one harvest at a time. Inside your cabin, the air is heavy with smoke and wet clothes. The stew pot simmers low on the coals. Mary tends it, her baby asleep against her chest. Tonight, the stew smells better than usual. Maybe someone traded something. Maybe the cook in the big house slipped a kindness when no one was looking. It happens sometimes. Quiet charity that cost them nothing, but could cost you everything. You eat in silence. Boiled greens, corn mash, and a scrap of meat that tastes vaguely of squirrel or raccoon. It fills the hole in your stomach, but not the one in your chest. Clara falls asleep leaning against your side. You stroke her hair, soft, matted, wild with knots. She needs it brushed, but you don't have a brush, just fingers, and fingers are too tired. The others in the cabin settle into their own silences. Some hum, some pray, some stare at the wall like it might fall away and show them something else. You close your eyes and remember the last time you smiled without caution. It was Leela. Flashback, under the pecan tree. It was nearly a year ago, late spring. The fields had just bloomed. You were sent to mend fences at the back pasture, a rare job that gave you space and quiet. She brought water, not to you, to the girl working in the orchard, but she saw you there, alone, mud to your knees, sun on your neck. She passed close and left a piece of cloth by the fence post. Inside it, sweet cornbread and half a peach. You remember how it tasted, sugar and sunshine and a kind of love you didn't know could exist. You met her eyes and saw a risk she was willing to take. And that night, under the pecan tree, you kissed her. Just once. Just long enough to feel human again. Back in the cabin, you hear Isaiah whisper your name, low, urgent. You rise, careful not to wake Clara. Outside, the air is damp. Crickets sing like they always do, like the world doesn't notice your chains. Isaiah waits by the side of the smokehouse. 2 others are already there, Jonah and Ruth. You trust them, mostly, enough. Isaiah holds a strip of cloth, faded red, tied with 2 knots. You recognize it. It's a code. 1 knot means go slow. 2 means danger. They're looking, Jonah says. Someone told them. You feel your stomach drop. You ask, about what? Ruth speaks now, voice tight. They know someone's trying to leave. You stay still, eyes on the woods, beyond the fence, beyond the road. There's a clearing, a river.
And north. Isaiah places a hand on your shoulder. Not tonight. He doesn't say more. He doesn't have to. You hear rustling in the brush behind the smokehouse. The group goes silent. Footsteps. You press back against the wall. Ruth hides the cloth in her sleeve. Jonah slips behind a stack of firewood. The figure steps into the light. It's Peter, a boy, 14 maybe, new to the plantation, too young to be trusted, too scared to lie well. He says nothing, just looks at you all, then turns and walks away. You don't speak again that night. Not about what he saw, not about what it might cost. Instead, you go back inside. Clara is still asleep, but she's shivering. You lie beside her and wrap your body around her, trying to warm her with what little heat you have left. Outside, the wind shifts. You can smell rain coming. Finally. The cabin quiets. Someone sings. Not loud, just barely above breath. A spiritual, soft and slow. Swing low, sweet chariot. You hum along, not because you believe someone's coming for you, but because the song says they might. And tonight, that's enough. Before sleep takes you, you reach beneath the floorboard. The seed is still there, wrapped in cloth, hidden in a tin, safe. You close your eyes and dream of Leela. Not in the big house, not in chains, not in sorrow, but standing by a river, eyes open, hair down, waiting.
The rain starts sometime before dawn. Not hard at first, just a hush of mist across the roof, like fingertips brushing the planks above your head. But then it grows louder, drops striking with purpose, a rhythm, a warning. You lie awake, Clara pressed against you. Her breath is slow, steady, but your mind is full of noise. Lila hasn't returned, not since yesterday morning. When you rise, Isaiah is already seated by the fire pit, sharpening a stick with a rusted knife, not for fighting, just habit. His hands always need work. He doesn't look up. Big house girl's back, he mutters. You freeze. Lila? He nods once. You step outside without another word. The rain has turned the dirt to soup. Your feet sink as you walk toward the far side of the quarters, where the house servants sleep, separated by rank, by silence, by the whitewashed lie that working indoors is easier. You find her sitting beneath the cookhouse eaves. Rain drips from her hair. Her apron is soaked through. One eye is swollen, purple blooming under the skin like rot on fruit. She doesn't look at you. You crouch beside her anyway. I waited, you whisper. I know, she says. You reach for her hand. She lets you hold it, but only for a moment. They don't want me down there anymore, she says quietly. I bled on the master's table.
You don't ask where. You don't need to. She turns her face to you. Rain clings to her lashes. I'm leaving. Your heart skips. Tonight, you glance toward the fields, the forest beyond. It's too wet, too loud, the dogs. I don't care. You see it in her. The part that died, and the part that refuses to. She touches your cheek. I don't want to belong to them when I die. The moment breaks when Isaiah calls your name. You turn. He stands at the corner of the smokehouse. His face is pale. It's Peter, he says. They found him. Peter's body lies by the river bend, face down in the reeds, one shoe missing, a welt around his neck. They say he slept, trying to catch a frog. But you know better. He saw you near the smokehouse. He didn't tell them, and now he's gone. The quarters go quiet. No songs tonight, no stew. Just a chill in the air and eyes that won't meet. Later, in the dark, Jonah pulls you aside. You know what this means. You do. The overseer doesn't know who was planning, just that someone was. So the next person caught won't end up like Peter. They'll make a public example. You sit with Isaiah behind the coop. He lifts a broken stool, flips it over. On the underside, scratched faintly into the wood, is a map. Crude, but real. It shows the path from the cotton fields to the river bend, then north, to a cabin. A man with a scar. A boat. He was my brother. Escaped in 48. Sent word last harvest. He runs a finger along the lines. We leave in 2 nights. Storm will hide our tracks. You nod. But your mind is on Lila. You find her again by the fence after supper. Her hands are shaking. I have to go tonight. I can't stay. They'll call me back. They always do. You press your forehead to hers. Then I'm coming with you. No, she says. You can't. You've got Clara. She needs you. You open your mouth, then close it. The truth chokes. She's right. But you're not ready to lose her. She kisses you. Gentle. Fevered. Final. And then she disappears into the woods. You wait until morning to look again. There are no footprints, just broken grass and silence. When the sun rises, A bell rings, but not the usual horn, the heavy bell by the barn. You feel it in your teeth. Discipline. Punishment. They found someone's rag in the woods, a woman's apron, torn, stained with blood. They line everyone up in the field. The overseer speaks slowly, voice even. Someone ran. No one speaks. The rain has stopped, but the air is thick with dread. They pull Isaiah forward. Your heart freezes. It was him, someone says. You turn. Jonah. Eyes down, mouth tight. You said you trusted him. I heard it. He was planning something. You want to scream, but if you do, you're next. You clench your fists. Isaiah doesn't beg. He doesn't flinch. He just lifts his chin. And when the first lash lands, he looks at you, as if to say, run. Later that night, you sit in the dirt by your cabin. Clara sleeps inside. Your hands tremble. The seed is still wrapped beneath the floor. You dig it up, hold it to the moonlight. Tiny, whole. You whisper into the dark, I'll plant you where no one can burn you. You look north, and you don't cry. You just wait.
You wake before the bell, not from a horn, not from the overseer's boots or the shouts of men. You wake from something quieter, the sound of Clara breathing, the whisper of wind through the cracks in the wall, the weight of morning, not heavy yet, but waiting. You sit up slowly. Your back aches, your palms are tight with dried blood, but something in you has changed. You rise, and the world does too. Outside, the dirt is slick from the storm. Puddles fill the low spots between the cabins. Chickens scratch near the fence, feathers matted from rain. The sky is silver, not quite light, not quite dark. And for once, it's quiet. No horn yet, no voices, just air. Clara steps out behind you, barefoot, hair wild. She looks up at you. Where's Isaiah? You kneel in front of her, and for the first time in a long time, you don't know what to say. He's resting, you whisper. She nods, solemn. Then she hands you something, a small piece of wood, a carving, a bird, crude, uneven, but unmistakably Isaiah's. You don't ask where she got it. You just hold it. Behind the cabin, near the edge of the fence line, you dig. Not a grave, not yet. Just a small hollow, tucked beneath a patch of wild grass.
You press the cotton seed into the earth, wrap it gently, cover it with soil, and breathe. No one sees you, but even if they did, it wouldn't matter, because the act isn't rebellion, it's resurrection. You return to the cabin, lift Clara into your arms. She rests her head against your shoulder, already drifting. She whispers, "Will we always be here?" You don't answer, because you don't want to lie. But you do say, "Not forever." The horn blows, sharp, cold. The day begins again, and yet it feels different, because somewhere out there Leela might still be walking. Somewhere Isaiah's brother is waiting by the river bend. Somewhere a seed is growing, not just in soil, but in you. You step into the field. The rows stretch long as always, but you look past them, to the tree line, to the sky, to a place you've never been, but one day will reach. And you think of all the names they tried to take, names whispered in the dark, names carved in wood and carried in song. Peter, Isaiah, Leela, and yours, still here, still standing. You reach down and pluck the first cotton ball of the day. The burrs cut you, but you don't bleed. Not this time. Not yet. You straighten your back and you move forward. You wouldn't last a day, someone once said. But they did. Every single one of them. Not because they had a choice, but because they refused to be forgotten. Now, maybe, neither will you.